think broadly speaking, there are two major categories of risk in the oil sector. The first is in relation to the day-to-day operations of an oil company. So, for example, the financial risks of a major oil spill, such as we're seeing BP still experiencing a couple of years after the Gulf of Mexico spill, or the reputational impact of being perceived to be complicit in a human rights abuse, such as Shell is still experiencing many years after the death of Ken Saro-Wiwa. The second category of risk relates to the future of the oil industry and climate change. Oil companies assume that we're not going to stop climate change. If they're right, investors are facing a big risk to the remainder of their portfolio. What is the economy and investment universe of a 6-degree world going to look like? And what does that mean in particular for the younger members of a pension fund, for example? If the oil companies are wrong and we do tackle climate change, it's likely this is going to have major impacts on those oil companies' profitability. So that's another risk for investors to bear in mind. And both risks, unfortunately, are growing significantly. I don't think any investor can plausibly deny that they have plenty of information with regard to the risks of climate change. And what we're witnessing is a failure to act, in part because of the profitability of oil companies in the short term. With regard to operational risks, I think that does differ from company to company. But with regard, for example, to the Arctic, I think there's a lack of information at the moment coming from companies. There's a lack of independent research. And so companies need to press for further research on those areas, and investors need to listen more to NGOs on those topics. I think that SRI will only be compatible with the oil sector if SRI investors can demonstrate that they are actively encouraging oil companies to move away from the most environmentally destructive forms of oil extraction, and that they're encouraging them to be part of the solution to a transition to a low carbon economy rather than a barrier to it.